You're live. Everyone can hear you complaining.
We'll get to it. You'll see. You'll see exactly what I was just like battling in my head.
What happened? Hey, it's Friday night. It's February 24th, 2023, 8:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the Game Bites podcast, the greatest gaming podcast on the planet with the greatest gaming audience. That's not a question. That's just a reflection.
Best audience.
Yeah, the best audience. This is the one podcast that now has officially been approved by NASA as the first team to go to the moon to play Pac-Man.
Yeah, we're working on it, but we're going to be the first ones.
Alex, is it true? And you were just telling me beforehand that you have a new. You have. I gotta turn the music off. Sorry. You have a new interest. We were talking about it a lot. I mentioned it a few times. You don't want to talk about it right now because you shouldn't say it. But is that true?
I'm going to let you run with this. I don't know what you're getting.
So this is one of the questions that came up in the chat. This is what I'm getting to. Alex, I hear that you are a fan of Dragon Ball Z. Is that accurate?
You heard this in the chat?
Yeah, I heard this in the chat. So let me getting ahead of myself. I'm tired. I'm blaming all the fried fish I ate. What do we do here on a weekly basis? We get together, we go through the news of the week in the gaming space, try to speak from it as gaming enthusiasts and from a game development, game making perspective as well. Because a lot of time people have thoughts and opinions about games, but they have no idea what they're talking about. So we try to balance both the enjoyment and production question, and again, try to talk about things that are interesting. Something we're starting this week is we opened up a Q&A channel in the Discord for fans, community members to ask questions. Some of your favorite questions, like one being, why don't you have a cup with Mark's face?
Yeah, that question was asked a lot. We're just not going to address it until it passes the threshold, but keep going.
I don't know what that threshold is, but I'm angry. But then one of the questions that came up is, for you, Alex, when did you first fall in love with Dragon Ball and what made you love the show?
Oh, gosh. I was artistically inclined when I was a kid. Like I love drawing just about everything. And so my mom like tried to make it a habit and take me to like extracurricular classes and stuff like that. But drawing was like my thing, and I was just drawing any and everything. And it was the actual art style, well, Toriyama's art style and art direction for that series that was like super easy for me to mimic when I was a kid. And I just loved drawing Dragon Ball Z characters. And like I ended up watching the show like all the way through, but that was, if you're for the short answer, it's because of that. It's because I just like drawing a lot as a kid, and Toriyama's art style was like it's still to this day does something in my head that I enjoy it like too much as opposed to other art styles, specifically Dragon Ball and Toriyama.
That's actually a very touching, heartfelt, sentimental response to something I don't care about, but I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't ask the question, they did.
Yeah, they asked the question. I'm just, I'm using it to keep the reel going. Okay, no, that's cool. You know, it's funny. I think I very early on interested in drawing as well, and one of the things I practiced all the time was Goku Super Saiyan hair. There was just something about like, I could draw hair on this person. Why does everyone look like a Saiyan? I don't know. Leave me alone. You know?
Yeah. Vegeta's base hair is probably the easiest thing for anyone to draw. His Super Saiyan didn't take too much more liberties than that. But yeah, you should have just started off with Vegeta.
Here's an interesting question. What celebrity, well-known public figure, anyone out there in the real world, which one of them has the closest, the haircut that resembles Vegeta's most closest? I can't speak. This is gonna be one of those Fridays. Effie, what are you doing, girl?
Yeah, my Vegeta's. Oh, geez, I completely threw a wrench. So they're gonna say Goku, and I was like, obviously Justin Chatwin. But that's a really dark joke for the Dragon Ball franchise. No, I have no one. I'll have to think about that. It's any girl who puts her hair up in a ponytail and stands in the human environment. That's the closest to Vegeta. Okay.
Do you remember that Matthew kid from college that was like obsessed with Vegeta and some other things in a very weird way? No. He was in your fraternity.
Maybe.
Okay. I just feel like he would get very upset if you referred to Vegeta being a girl in the same sense. So
you just asked for closest hairstyle.
Yeah. I googled celebrity with Vegeta hair, and girls came up.
Yeah.
And Timothy
Moving
Chalamet,
on.
who looks like a little.
Oh
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can put that up.
Now, I'm not going to put that up, but answers there. Anyway, the only other question is, what is your issue with Mudkip?
I have no issue with Mudkip. It's just the adults are talking every once in a while, and Mudkip answers the chat. There's a time and place, and he's just not reading the room at all yet. So we're just going to work on that. It's not an issue, but it's something we're working through together. So that's just all I'm going to say about that.
Well, it sounds like you're ready to be a father. Tommy Worms in the chat says Pauly D of the Jersey Shore as the celebrity.
Oh, no.
Actually, you know what?
I know that's, yeah.
It's not as long, but it's the same idea. And like, if sometimes when you see animated shows adapted in real life, they take liberties and they make it more realistic. I think he's right.
Oh, really? They do that every time? Wow, that's crazy.
Not every time. There's the Speed Racer movie. That was trippy. Also a great movie. Yes.
Emily Hirsch.
Who is a boy. But yes, great movie. That Speed Racer movie, actually, I watched that a ton back in the day. Actually, with Tommy here in the chat. Lots of nights with Speed Race. John Goodman. What an actor, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, we're getting off track. We're going to get back on track again. There's a Game Bites question and answer in the Discord. Ask some of your questions that you want to get fielded by Alex here. Again, some sentimental ones. I'm going to clip that, make something beautiful out of it. That was a beautiful response. It's nice to have a mother that loves you. With that being said, let's get into the news of the week. Starting off with Nintendo. Alex, by the way, what are you drinking?
Oh, this is actually Mother Earth Cali Creamin' from San Diego.
Oh, is that
It's the best beer I've ever had.
Really?
I can't stop ever since I first had it 2 years ago, San Diego.
Oh.
Anyone I give it to at events out here, like weddings and other events that are events, they always ask, like, did you bring more? What was that beer last time? I forgot, and it was delicious. It's Mother Earth Cali Creamin'.
I appreciate that time you gave me some when I visited. Yeah, it was
This was 2 years ago, not 6. Okay,
I was
So I
there
take
in
it back.
2019. Actually, the last few times I saw you in 2020. I saw
Not
you.
here.
It was definitely in California. That's when I first met your wife.
Yeah, that was still before Mother Earth San Diego visit.
Whatever you say.
Next time.
Next time. All right. Yeah. If there's ever gonna be a next time, after you're not giving me the California ale. Anyways, so switching into the news. There's a problem. Again, guys, it's been a long week and I'm tired. And Alex here harassed me for 2 hours today.
You asked the wrong questions earlier.
I don't even remember what I asked at this point. So starting off in the news, starting with some Nintendo news again. With every episode, I'm going to have to declare I own Nintendo stock. I'm just going to say that and I'm going to move on. So obviously this is related to some other things that Alex is greatly interested in, specifically the Activision, Microsoft, Sony, the debacle, the dance, the triumvirate. I mean, there's Marcus Aurelius, there's Cleopatra, and there's a guy in Rome who just wants to go home. It's getting crazy.
There's that guy that wants to be Nintendo. You know, it's just they always sprout up. You can't ever keep these guys out of the room.
No one wants to be Nintendo. They're not actually in the same industry. Didn't you know that?
There's some court documents alleging that.
There's court documents that allege that because people argued it. And we're actually going to kind of touch upon that when we talk about market share, when you mentioned that earlier. But in one of these court documents, there was discussion about the online cloud gaming space. And, whenever these types of lawsuits happen, the regulatory bodies involved, in this case, the UK CMA or the FTC, will reach out to all the competitors and basically do an RFI, request for information. And under, the nature of the legal system, they typically have to oblige. Now, whenever these companies reveal data that isn't known or information that's still private or sensitive, the information will be revealed in a redacted manner. And this statement from the court, this is a new court document from the UK Competition and Market Authority. And again, this is an article from Game Luster by Bobby Kent. I don't know Bobby, but what a name. The article states that these court documents seem to confirm that Nintendo's next gaming system will use the Nintendo Switch Online service. The news was first shared over on Reddit and can be clearly seen at the source in the UK government's website. There's a link here in the article. The document comes from an ongoing Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition case, which is bringing us lots of interesting bits of news. And then in the documents, the CMA are assessing Nintendo's online services as a cloud gaming platform. Again, because there's this debate of Microsoft having a monopoly on cloud gaming in of itself, right? While Sony has the potential monopoly on console gaming. To make comparisons to Xbox cloud gaming, the report ultimately decides Nintendo isn't competing there, because they're not a game console at all, as their online services focuses on multiplayer gaming. Kind of weird. Yeah, that's weird. Like Game Boy Advance. I mean, that's not over the cloud, but yeah, whatever. One of these points, however, specifies in the quote, Nintendo's cloud gaming service is only available on the Nintendo Switch device and redacted. So you heard it here, folks. The Nintendo Switch's successor is called Redacted.
Redacted. It's a black bar.
Yeah, I should actually.
You just gotta highlight it on the computer that it's redacted on, and you'll be able to see it. But in the meantime,
you're probably right.
Yeah, yeah, you're supposed to just highlight it.
I just saw it. It's the Super Switch. It's the Super Switch.
Of course it is.
So with that actually excites me, because people, when the Switch when the online service came out, it was like $20 a year, and people were like, well, it's only for this, online multiplayer, compared to Xbox and PlayStation. That was super cheap. But then they added, the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, and then they added the expansion that includes N64 and now Game Boy Advance, and now all the DLC for their first party games, like Splatoon, I believe, and Super Mario Kart, all those games. You get DLC with it. I think it ends up being like $50 a year. So at this point, to me, I feel like the package itself has become a better offering. But now that I know that it's going to continue to the next system as well, like, I don't know, that makes me happy. What do you think about that?
Sounds like a sunken cost fallacy to me. No, it sounds good. If it's going to continue on, then you have no fear of losing stuff. Then you're not going to stop spending money during the interim, There's actually, or if anyone's holding off because a new system's going to have features for only that, maybe you don't have to hold off, yeah. So,
yeah, I feel like Nintendo, I'm sure other consoles struggled with this a bit, but when Nintendo went from the Wii to the Wii U, people who bought games on the Wii or the Wii U or the DS or 3DS, and they're kind of losing it as they went to the next generation. I feel like this is Nintendo's answer to that challenge, to where it's a platform that can exist outside of a console, since it's an emulation platform, and they can now build around that. And I think frankly, Nintendo had to start from the ground up again with this, because they didn't have the infrastructure, and they probably didn't have the internal capabilities to build something as net savvy as this type of platform. It's just look at Nintendo's online service already compared to PlayStation or Xbox. They don't prioritize that, and they don't typically invest in it until they need to, and I think we're starting to see that with where this offering is developing, if that makes sense.
So you have experience with Splatoon, right? Do you play it online multiplayer?
I do. That's the only time I play. I mean, I played it.
Is it smooth? Is it work?
Super smooth? Yeah, super smooth. So the weirdness about Splatoon, and Splatoon 2 has this. I'm pretty sure Splatoon 3 still has this. So does Smash Brothers Online. Smash Brothers Online is pretty smooth, but for competitive play, people recommend using the LAN cable, which you used to have to buy an adapter, but with the OLED that's built into the base, is voice chat. Nintendo doesn't encourage voice chat the way these other platforms do, and out of that, people they argue
not encourage it, but just allow it or enable it.
Well,
I don't think anyone at Sony is like, oh my gosh, we need to have voice chat because it's just so constructive all the time and necessary.
And that's a point Nintendo's kind of made, and no one really uses it. I don't use voice chat anymore when I play a random match in Halo, right? And so what Nintendo will allow is, if you want to play with a friend and they both have the Nintendo Switch Online app on their phone, you can talk through the app on your phone. It's still very weird and clunky. Now, I think there are other games that have let chat in the system, like Fortnite and stuff, but that's based on the game's infrastructure and not necessarily Nintendo's hardware.
Yeah, that's what I thought was Splatoon. Because, I mean, the game's infrastructure for multiplayer with Splatoon compared to something like Pokemon, both Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. As soon as you go online, it is a mess, like especially at launch.
Yeah.
So I knew it had to do with the developer's own infrastructure and not the system itself.
But it's not the best, and I think it's slowly getting better, and I think the price point's very fair, and I think, hey, we're gonna find out on Monday. By Monday afternoon, we're finding out that we might be getting Pokemon as well in the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance classic Pokemon games, which by the looks of it, looks like we'll be able to transfer those Pokemon to Nintendo Stadium, Pokemon Stadium, and Pokemon Home. Yeah. Again, if I'm right about that, Alex, I think you have to play Fortnite is the agreement.
Yeah, if you can transfer them, yes, I will. No, I'll play like Among Us or something. I think you said. But yeah, because that would kind of make sense with how they were ending Pokemon Bank from the DS, because Bank was the communication between anything before Ultra Sun and Moon, Omega. Yeah, anything before that.
Yeah.
To the home.
Yeah.
So. And even that, the older generations even had to have like another little interim, and I never did it, but there was another little thing you had to do just to get it to Bank, and then to Home. So yeah, if these old games have a way to communicate with Home immediately, then I will abide by your deal.
Great, Alex is going to play Fortnite and buy the Goku skins. So with that being said, yeah, I think it's a great. I think that if we get all of these great games that carry over to the next console, right, that automatically is an incentive that does two things for me. One, like you said, I don't feel bad for giving them money to build this because I'm still going to have access to it, right? On the other side of it, it gives me a reason like, hey, maybe I'll get these games in a higher fidelity, or maybe there'll be something else to playing it on this new console, or at least I'll play these games on the new console, but I can still play with my friends who only have the Switch too. You know what I mean?
I just want to fast forward.
They do have the rewind. They don't. Oh, you're talking about for Pokemon?
For Pokemon, without the running shoes on those old GBA games or just Game Boy games. I just want to be able to fast forward, or just have it on like double speed.
Yeah, and that does bring up a good point. If we get these Pokemon games now, they're going to want to do additional ones in the future. And they already revealed a bunch of Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games that are coming in the future that I can't imagine are all going to be here in the next year. Like they showed like 7 or 8 games for each platform. They don't release them that quick. I think this is the Switch's last year. So yeah, I think we are going to get this platform on the Super Switch, as I'm going to call it. I think they should call it that, because people will understand what that means a little bit more than the Switch U. Like, God bless you. Did you sneeze?
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, with more Nintendo news, Alex, did you see that we're getting another Nintendo Direct?
Exactly 1 month from now?
March 9th, 2023, March 10th in Japan, which is...
That is like a couple of days from now. That's like 2-3 weeks from the original.
Yes.
Or the previous. Jeez.
Do you know March 10th is Mario Day?
I did not. Why is it?
March, abbreviated as MAR, and then 10 looks like an I and an O. I'm serious. That's Mario Day. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Nintendo's great big holiday, and now it's going to be March 10th in Japan when they do this, but it'll be March 9th here. Nintendo's come out and said, hey, we're doing another Direct, but this one is exclusively focused on the movie. So I think we're going to get some more information about the movie. This, listen, people watch these Directs, unlike State of Plays, that for the most part, the Directs always have, I think, something to offer you interesting. And this Direct is going to largely be focused on the movie. They did say that there's nothing going to be related to new games, but here's the caveat. There's also a lot of rumbling, tumbling, bumbling that we're getting a new Mario movie bundle for the Nintendo Switch.
Rumble?
And
Rumble?
It looks like it's coming out March 10th, which would make sense if you're going to do a Nintendo Direct and then have a brand new package that you want to offer right before a movie comes out. Putting it out in Mario Day makes sense. So they did have a Mario Switch bundle back in like 2018, which came with, I believe, Mario Odyssey. And it had like the red dock and the red Joy-Cons, I believe, as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to that. But what we do have, confirmation at least for the most part, is that we are going to get Mario Odyssey in this. It is going to be an OLED Mario-themed Switch. And we're going to get something else special for the movie. I don't know what that could be. I can't imagine them doing like a movie ticket, just because that seems to have a limited life, and they're going to want to sell these all year to try to bridge the gap of 25 million units, I think, to become the best-selling console of all time. So I don't know what it is. Now, people are wondering, do they actually put another game in with it? Like, would they possibly bring back Super Mario 3D All-Stars and put that in the bundle as well? Which, think about it. At that point, it's practically every Mario game you could get. Like, you have the Switch Online, which has all the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, Nintendo games. And then you have Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and then you have Mario Odyssey. That's the Mario Ultimate Bundle.
Was 3D All-Stars that one limited release port? Not port, but like all the N64 games kind of thing? Is that what that is, or is it its own game?
It is its own game. It has a lot of content that only exists in the game itself. Like, hey, look at all this image and artwork and stuff like that. But it is a re-release of Super Mario 64 with modern controls, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy as well.
They did that as a limited release at the time, right? It was only like a 6-month window or something. Like, it was just...
Yeah, but they're not like Disney.
Weird.
That thing you could still buy pretty new on the shelves at a lot of stores, because they're not printing it out a ton. So it was a limited release. But
not limited availability.
It seems that way, So, like, I think if you went to a Best Buy, you'd probably be able to find it, maybe, So yeah, it was a limited release intended, and maybe we get a physical version or a digital version. I don't know, but those are games that you could only get in that bundle. Besides 64, which I think is on the 64 emulator. But again, they're different OS versions of the game. One's gonna be much more tuned to the modern day control scheme. So, yeah. I don't know. So here's the challenge Nintendo is facing. Like we said, they are 25 million units short of becoming the best-selling console of all time. They have Tears of the Kingdom coming out. They have a Mario movie, which is going to make people want to Switch if they don't have a Switch, or double dip, right?
Or at least they're hoping so.
Yeah, they're hoping so. I mean, human behavior would indicate that people are going to buy Switches after seeing that movie. So I think their hope is, not only will they want to buy a Switch, but it's even an easier conversation, because you want a Switch, you just saw Mario, get Mario movie bundle. It just makes sense, right? And I think they're hoping that with a Tears of the Kingdom bundle, and maybe the year being bolstered by some more ports and maybe Metroid Prime 4, that they could do it. I don't know. A Pokemon as well coming out. Like, what if you got this year Red, Blue, and Yellow and Gold, Silver, and Crystal on the Switch? Like, do you think in that whole landscape, is that something that tells you that's a good year for Nintendo?
Yes. It seems like a farewell to a system, honestly.
Fair enough.
A finale.
Yeah. We're going out with a bang, and it's going to include Ho-Oh. Is it Ho-Oh or Ho-Ho?
Ho-Oh.
Okay. I always got that confused because my brother's nickname growing up was Ho-Ho, and I always liked Ho-Oh because it reminded me of my brother. Not that he's a big gold shiny bird that I only see when I'm passed out on the floor.
In the first episode.
Yeah. But just like...
Really? That's not your brother?
No, believe it or not.
Didn't do that?
No, not anymore.
You lied to me so many times.
Well, it was for the bit. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. The only other bit of news I wanted to talk about for Pokemon, for Nintendo, excuse me, same thing, is there's been a major leak for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Have you heard about this?
No.
So,
a major leak for Zelda.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing, and I've seen a lot of big YouTube channels that cover Zelda exclusively that, like, hey, we're not going to talk about this. One, because Nintendo is issuing strikes because it's not supposed to be out there. But ultimately, the printer for the collector's edition art book, someone basically got that book off the line and loaded it onto the internet. And so
Gotcha.
Nothing super critical to like what's happening in the plot is truly revealed, but you get a lot of information that Nintendo doesn't want you to know yet in this book that's now on the internet. So I don't know, like whatever this guy wants to do with it could be a girl, who knows, but I'm not going to look at it. It's not my MO. Like I want to know, but I don't want to know so bad that it's going to ruin my experience with the game. So
Yeah, I feel like anything we'd say would be. I don't know. I'm trying to think like what would be spoiled in an art book other than like Ganon's final design or anything like that, or the return of any characters from previous games in any format.
Is it even Ganon? Are there different villains,
it's
right?
all Ganon, but there's different. I mean, there's like Ganondorf was in Ocarina.
Did you play Skyward? Did you play Skyward Sword?
Was that on a Wii U?
And the Switch?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it got released on it. I know, re-released for the Switch.
Yeah, well,
no, I haven't.
In Skyward Sword, which is the first game in the timeline, you find out that the true source of evil is this entity called Demise, and Link, being the first hero of time at that point, conquers Demise, and at the end of Skyward Sword, Demise promises to, I'm going to keep coming back for you. So it's like this.
So it was Ganon.
Well, Ganon, I think ultimately is is influence of the essence of Demise in this sense. So and that's like the same thing. Like technically Link is not the same Link in all the Zelda games. He is, but he isn't. Like it's almost like he is capturing the spirit of the hero of time destined to be this person, but he's still a different Link. And I think the same could be said about Ganondorf, with that spirit being Demise within him, if that makes sense. This evil grab. And of course, good always conquers evil. So it's, it's a good time. But I say all of that to be like, maybe there's just spoilers about the enemies and who knows. But it just, I did see one thing. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want Nintendo to yell at me. Because I own... Yeah, I no, it was someone tweeted it out actually. Freaking Jeff Grubb. Or as he's called in the Mike Tyson Punch-Out community, Grubber Ling. But it is just like, okay, like that's a bummer, but we only have a few months. Just wait, people. Are you? You're not. Is that the game you're excited about most this year?
No, not the most. But for a Switch, yes. I think that's the answer for everyone for the Switch, unless they just really don't play like RPGs or anything, which is fine.
Unless they don't like life.
No, for the Switch, yeah, I think that was it. Especially since most of the Switch games are going to be are on consoles also.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
I didn't. We're moving on to it later.
What is that game about again?
8 Paths.
Wait, isn't it called Octopath Traveler 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very fine font, but yeah.
We did the thing where the show itself says the name of the show, because the name of this episode is Octopath Traveler 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, so we have to do like a title drop in the...
We did it. It would just happen. But we should try to... Listen, I'm not smooth at all tonight, okay?
But yeah, that's my most excited Switch game, or anticipated one. It is for you, obviously, right? In your little Zelda dungeon behind you. Did you break all the pots in that room? Like, how committed are you to this?
I made a very angry wife today because I broke a lot of stuff.
Took all her rupees?
They're all gone. All the red ones, all the green ones. The blue ones I gave to the dogs, and they're not able to digest those, but it's a good time. What was I gonna say? Gosh, what game are you looking forward to most? Can I guess?
For what, the Switch or the PS5?
Just in general.
Sure.
Is it
in general
Final Fantasy 16?
No.
Woo! What is it?
Probably Wulong.
Oh.
Anything from FromSoft goes right out of my wallet and into my PS5.
That's a wonderful transition because you mentioned Wulong. Did you know that today there is a new demo on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC for Wulong? What's something Dynasty?
Fallen Dynasty.
Fallen Dynasty. Thank you. Yeah. Wulong Final Dynasty, Fallen Dynasty. Gosh, someone should slap me.
Wulong Final Destination 3.
It's the sequel to Destiny 2. I apologize. This is actually a great moment to stop and say, obviously, folks, you can see that I'm tired. And I am tired because I've done a lot today. But, if you don't like being tired, if you don't like, stumbling upon your words. Who does? I recommend you try out a new sponsor. I guess I could say. I'm an affiliate with them.
It's not an old sponsor.
It's not an old sponsor. That's Old Spice. Called Midnight Energy. A friend of mine, John Blevins, owns. He's a co-owner of the company. If he's interested in it, I'm interested in it because he doesn't just promote things. He's very picky and choosy. It's a small company that just started. They have a bunch of vitamins in the product. It's a nootropic as well, so it's good for the brain, which clearly I need as I can't speak. If you use code joyful with all caps, can't speak, at midnightenерgy.com, you'll be able to get 10% off on any products. There's 3 flavors right now. They all look tasty. I'm waiting to get mine. But again, small team, good ingredients. Again, you'll see the graphic here too. Just considering I can't speak, I thought that'd be a good time to bring it up again. That's midnightenерgy.com, code joyful.
And probably reiterate that it's not in your system right now because you are failing.
Oh yeah, I am not drinking it right now. This would be the worst advert ever. Okay.
Yeah.
I need it though. I don't want to be like this. So with that being said, and with Wulong Final Dynasty, Fallen Dynasty, but
You want me to talk?
yes, Wulong.
Hold on. Oh my gosh, baked in a buttery, flaky crust. Wulong Fallen Dynasty comes out March 3rd, but they released the demo today.
Oh, that's so
I think
soon.
it's on every system that exists. Like it's on the Stadia somehow. No, it's on the PS5, Xbox S, all those Xbox systems that they regurgitated last year, and the PlayStation 4. But it is a FromSoft game. Those are the same developers that made like Sekiro and Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne. What else? Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, I heard that one.
But it's in the same vein, but it's obviously takes place in China. Ancient China. I think Lu Bu's in it, which I'm super excited
Are you
about.
serious? He's in it?
He's that halberd, if that's Skypiercer, and these long feathered antennae, I guess, on the helmet, that is 100% Lu Bu.
I really like how you said antennae. It's a
I don't know. It's multiple. It's not just one.
It's a very sophisticated way of saying antennae.
Yeah, I'm sure Lu Bu was like, "Hey, I can't go to battle yet. I got to put my antennae on my helmet."
Guys,
I'm sure that's the word he used.
Who took my antennae?
Yeah, just the one? No, both. I said it specifically.
It was plural.
Plural. Yeah.
Hey, here's a random question. Yeah.
So if you've already left the stream to go play that, I understand. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or Monday on your way to work.
Yeah, I don't blame you guys for leaving this stream. So it features 2 early stages of the game, Chapter 1, Village of Calamity, and Chapter 2, 2 Chivalrous Heroes, and your save data from the demo will transfer to the final game when it's released in March, given that you're playing it on the same console. It will be free on Game Pass, but if you purchase it, those who complete the demo will also get a free DLC for the full game called Crouching Dragon Helmet. I've seen that movie. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Along the way, the soldier not only encounters countless demons and monsters, but famous warlords and military masterminds from history, including Lu Bu, Cao Cao, and Sun Quan.
It's Cao Cao and Sun Quan. What'd you say? Sun Quan?
Jian.
Oh yeah, Sun Jian.
Sun Jian.
He was a Wu general.
Ah.
He died pretty early in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, though, with his sons Sun Quan. Oh wait, we said we said we could do this, but I'm not doing it now. But Sun Quan and Sun Se and Sun Sheng was his daughter.
I'm proud of you. Here, let's take a step back and talk about. Let's revisit antennae again, though. That's the thing that interests me.
What is there, an Ant-Man movie out or something? Like, what are you trying to segue to?
I think I've heard that movie is good. No, so you talked about antennae and it's being plural. This is a random question. When you talk about a plurality of pairs of shoes, is it I want to buy 2 pair or I want to buy 2 pairs?
2 pairs of shoes.
It's with an S?
Probably conversationally, but I don't know if it's right or wrong. But yeah, you would buy 2 pair of shoes. Oh gosh, yeah, it doesn't roll off. That's like, what is that called when it's easier to just roll off the tongue, so you adjust the words? Like, it's as a culture. I know it's not dialect, but it's a specific thing. Like, pairs of shoes rolls off better than 2 pair of shoes. I'm done. Let's just move on.
I think it is the plural of pair is
I would say two
pairs.
pairs.
Yeah. I got into an argument once with my brother, and I was like, I think he might be right about this, but then it didn't sound right to me.
That lasted 0.3 seconds because he flew off into the sky with a rainbow trail behind him.
Yeah, and I just got in a battle with a Pikachu in the rain. It was a moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're probably misled. Yeah.
Well, was Ash misled?
For a 20-year-old, 10-year-old, yeah, I'd say so.
Took him a long time to win.
He had a hormone deficiency.
All right. So I think we talked about Nintendo. We talked about Lubu and antennae. In other news, actually keeping with the conversational starter of tonight, Activision Microsoft. That is ramping up. And Alex, I know this is your most favorite topic that we have in the gaming world today. Do you want to own this entire conversation, or do you want me to talk about it?
No, but it was big news this week. It had to do. You only included one of those. I think that's globally.
Which one?
But the market share, and this was
Sure.
reported by Microsoft themselves.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point, right? So Microsoft is making arguments inside the court in the UK CMA this week. But at the same time, there's press happening outside the courtrooms as well. People are talking about things, and they're kind of just positioning. Like, this is what we think, this is what we think. So Microsoft said, hey, we only have a 30% share of the console space globally, and PlayStation has a 70% share, which the first thing I hear is interesting. They only talking global. They're specifically leaving out North America, but they do call out Japan, which is like 94% in favor of PlayStation. North America is probably a little bit closer, but they also don't mention Nintendo.
Hometown advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Home field advantage.
Exactly. And they don't mention Nintendo at all. So it's almost like, well, Nintendo Switch is one of the best selling consoles of all time, but they have no market share at all.
Yeah.
And
it's like they're not using them in the console language. They're like, that's a handheld.
Get that out of here.
Up to a TV every once in a while.
What are you going to
console?
You can play Pokemon on that? Get out of here.
It's a handheld.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a misleading statistic, but it's still relevant because I think at the end of the day, the argument is that Sony is going to have such a stranglehold once they own Call of Duty that PlayStation won't be able to succeed. And Microsoft's trying to say at the very least, like, PlayStation's not going nowhere, which I believe is true. Now, as a part of one of the decisions or I think releases from the UK CMA a few weeks ago, they talked about various paths that could possibly assuage regulators' concerns about the merger. One of them being, what if we just got rid of Call of Duty? If no one owned Call of Duty, the merger could go through, but Call of Duty spun off basically into its own company. And even though Microsoft, we talked about this at the beginning, was saying we're not interested in this deal because of Call of Duty, we want King. Brad Smith, who's kind of in charge of this venture for Microsoft, said, if we can't get Call of Duty, we don't want this deal. So they're very much still like, hey, Call of Duty still matters. Now, one of the other things is there's concerns from, I think we talked about a few weeks ago too, NVIDIA called in and said, hey, we have concerns about this because Microsoft has such a strong profile in Game Pass and online gaming and cloud gaming. This impacts our business. And what happened this week? Microsoft inked a long deal with NVIDIA. I think it's almost 10 years to basically say, hey, every Activision game that you'll be able to play on PC through Microsoft, you'll be able to play on your GeForce Now, which is huge because GeForce Now is the, it's the cloud gaming platform similar to Google's Stadia, but instead of having to buy your games over again, if you own a game on Steam or somewhere else, you could then play it on GeForce Now. You have to pay monthly for GeForce Now, but it's still a better value prop, right? If you just want to sign up for that month you're out of town or whatever, it may be. So this deal gets signed. NVIDIA comes out and says, all our concerns are gone. So it's very much a public, hey, yeah, we're not concerned anymore.
That was just like sliding some money under the table or some candy under the table. Hey, just shut up while the big boys are talking.
And Microsoft's making deals to something they don't own yet. And just also this week, now this is something in December, Phil Spencer mentioned that they entered into a verbal agreement, but they've officially signed a contract with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to the Nintendo platform for the next 10 years. Now, people are like, how are they going to bring Call of Duty to the Switch? If this goes through, there's no way it's a game in time for the Switch. But they're basically saying Call of Duty games parity with other console releases. So if whatever comes out on the PS5 or the Series X or the PC, you're going to get that same game with the next Nintendo console. And when asked about how it would work, Brad Smith said, it will work how you expect it to work, which is vague.
No, it's not. It's hilarious.
It's funny, but it's also like, so it's going to be streamed? Or, yeah. It's so vague that it's the right answer. It's like, well, I mean, he did say how we expect, and I expected this. So, Nintendo had no concerns. They're in the background going like, well, no one wants to be like us. That's fine. So I think all of this is happening. Sony still says that they're not close to a deal. And frankly, from, hearing a lot of smart people talk about this and other regulators talk about it, they think for the most part that this is going to go through. And again, I'm speaking from a agnostic perspective. Like, I don't really have a strong on this situation right now, like, should it happen or should it not happen? I'm not speaking from that perspective, but just like what people are saying. Analysts think the deal will still go through, but they don't think Sony is going to kind of agree to anything yet, because worst case scenario, if they go down this entire venture and they still lose, the regulators are most likely going to force a deal that Nintendo or Nvidia just got for Sony no matter what. So like Sony is going to push this fight until they can't push it anymore. And if they just end up getting guaranteed Call of Duty, fine. But there's no scenario where the lawyers are like, the regulators are like, you know what? We were thinking about it, Sony, but we're just mad. So we're going to take it away from you completely. Like that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So they're digging in and they're using the resources. And I think, frankly, it makes sense from a certain perspective, because giant mergers like this, a company with as much capital as Microsoft, like, I don't know, it's interesting because the market share argument, which I think makes sense, like PlayStation 5 is going to outsell Series X and Series S because we're seeing that with MPD and hardware sales data now that there's not a limitation on supply. Like PlayStation 5 is outselling the Switch. But Microsoft cares more about their games everywhere, and there's a good chance that if you're an Xbox gamer or a PC gamer, you have Game Pass. That's what they care about. So it's an interesting situation. I don't know what's going to happen, but Microsoft's just giving Call of Duty to anyone. Do you want Call of Duty, Alex? You sure? Sure.
I am not the target audience for this entire debacle. And like I said, unless Sony is affected negatively, then I'm going to be affected. But this whole Call of Duty argument, I just I said that a couple months ago that I just wish, take Call of Duty out of Activision and make it its own thing and see where this argument goes. And we saw. But if that's what Sony was so worried about, then, and I like how they show like, hey, here's market share now, but like, what about after this deal goes through? Yeah,
which is
companies are operating on budgets, and I don't know what percentage of that budget that single studio is making up for Sony, but you throw global market share from 70 to 30 to like 45, 40, 50, 50, I was going to say 55, 45. Sony's losing a lot there. That's a lot. So cool. Market shares of this now, but
yeah. And I do believe there's already an agreement in place that Microsoft would still have to respect. I'd have to look back into this. This was reported a few months ago that if Microsoft does get it, that they still, I don't know if they'd be able to offer it exclusively on Game Pass. Like I think Call of Duty would be off hands. I'm not sure because Sony signed a deal with Call of Duty to say you can't put this on any platforms like Game Pass, but I think their deal overall is ending in the next year or two. So it could be that in the next 2 years, even if Microsoft gets it, you won't see it. But once that's out, you might have that situation where average Joe gamer's like, yo, I want the new Call of Duty. And it's like, well, it's on both platforms, but if you get Xbox, it's just there with Game Pass along with all these other games. Like, oh, that makes sense. And I think that's the lever Sony's really concerned about, is that advantage Microsoft has beyond hardware, but with their just gaming platform in general. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's scintillating. It's a giant merger. $69 billion, dude. I'll take Call of Duty for a few billion. Come on, Microsoft. Phil Spencer, sign us. We'll be the official Call of Duty podcast. Alex is a big fan.
No.
There you have it. Continuing with Microsoft news, Bethesda, now owned by Microsoft, has announced as of February 21st a top-down mobile shooter called Mighty Doom. I am both saddened and excited by this.
So that is what you saw in the opening moments of this podcast. I was reading it and I was like, Bethesda has announced a March release for a top-down like mobile shooter Mighty Doom. And I saw the thing first. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Doom. Top down, okay. And then I was like, oh, mobile devices. But then I saw he has a bunny on his shoulder. And that, it was just a roller coaster of emotions with me.
You know the lineage of the bunny for Doom Guy?
No, that is brand new to me.
Okay, so
he's cute. That's a lot, 100%. That's a lot. It's the same type of bunnies I have.
So the bunny's name is Daisy, and I think it's the original Doom at the end of episode 4 or 3. The demons kidnap Doom Guy's bunny and kill him, Daisy. So that's one of the reasons why Doom Guy goes berserk and just goes through hell and kills everything, because they killed his bunny. And
so this is my future. This is one of those. This is a Nexus event for me. This is something that could happen to me.
Well, Doom Guy is also celibate and not married, so no. But that's actual canon for him. That kid you not. But I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so like in this trailer, I don't think you should watch it. There's a bunny getting killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like that's an awesome homage to the original series and what's been brought back in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like I think in Doom Eternal there was an Easter egg about Daisy Cage and all that stuff. But what I will say is I don't think this game is going to have any mobile monetization tactics. It doesn't seem like it's yet to be confirmed. But this is a roguelike top-down shooter. I'm so sad that it's on mobile games, but it looks adorable. It's set in the Doom animated universe. When they say it like that, it makes me go, "Are we getting a cartoon?"
Yeah,
like
doing some paired launch, double dip again.
Yeah, but it's if you play 2016 or Eternal, anyone out there, it's the little Doom guys that you collected, the little action figures. It basically is that imagery in a top-down game. Again, roguelike gameplay, bosses, all that stuff. I could see them bringing this game to consoles eventually. You mean Marvel Snap is on PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just why not, right? I'd play the heck out of this game. I'm gonna try it on my phone, although control schemes will probably suck. But like, yeah, I just give me this on my Switch or my Super Switch.
My Super Switch.
Are there any mobile games that you could play besides Marvel Snap, like that you've ever enjoyed? What about like Fruit Ninja?
I remember iNinja for like the PS2.
Bro,
that was before like iTouches and all that stuff. It's an old game.
You never played Fruit Ninja?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
So like at the very least, these games when they first came out on the iPod Touch and the iPhone, they weren't like heavily monetized. You'd pay like $2.99, $5.99 and you get the game, right? Fruit Ninja was just a simple game where fruit would fly onto the screen and you'd have to slice it with your finger. And it would get harder and more challenging, and the way you cut it, you got a better score or not. And I mean, there's arcade machines for it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome game. It's one of my favorite games.
Is this Game Bites? I guess it's relevant.
Yeah.
I was thinking you're talking about some old mobile game.
It's not
like you're.
I'm so mad now.
Is it still going?
Fruit Ninja's still around. Yeah, it's still going. It's got a 4.5 out of 5.5 million ratings on Google. Came out in 2010, still going strong with a bunch of updates. So
there's your Fruit Ninja update, everyone.
Nickelodeon People's Choice Awards for favorite mobile game. Kids Choice Award
Which
too.
Year? 2011?
2016. It was a nominee. Candy Crush Saga won. Darn it.
Of course.
Yeah. But I put it up there with Plants vs. Zombies as like classic games. Like classic mobile games that are actually good before things got a little crazy. And Doodle Jump Fruit Ninja, Plants vs Zombies, Angry Birds, yes, but Angry Birds also pretty quickly like ventured down the path of like, you want to keep playing? Just give us a couple more dollars.
Couple of bucks.
Couple dollars. So, Tommy Worms in the chat says Survivor IO is taking up some time right now, but it's just roguelike Vampire Survivor on your phone. That is right. So, mobile game. Vampire Survivor, you haven't played that yet, have you? Alex, I guess you can. It's not on PlayStation. Vampire Survivor is on your mobile phone. It's extremely cheap. Actually, this is a cool story. Vampire Survivor came out 2022. Right after
playing this.
Yeah, it's a great game. It came out on PC originally. Now it's on Xbox. And they brought it to mobile phones, and I'm pretty sure it's free to play on mobile phones, but there's no monetization. Like, they charged $2.99 for the game, flat out, when it first came out. It's a very, very straightforward game. I love it. A lot of people are big fans of it. And the reason why they are giving it away for free on mobile right now is because they were looking around for mobile developers to port it to their mobile phone, and they basically couldn't find anyone they liked that wasn't trying to be like, well, yeah, we can monetize it like this, or we could do this, or we could do that. And so they just decided to do it themselves. But since they're not that strong with that skill set, mobile development is, there's unique customizations and variables you have to think through. So they're like, you know what, just take it for free. We're going to add stuff to it. Eventually we'll probably charge it. But yeah, so it's free for phone. It's a game you could easily play on your phone because it's literally just it's an auto attack where you have to navigate giant hordes of enemies. It reminds me of like a classic type of just game. Very simple, straightforward, good loop. Yeah. Just try it.
Okay.
But Tommy Worms here is mentioning that there's been a lot of clones. Like Vampire Survivors created a barrage of copycats that have copying it on the mobile market before it was even on the mobile market, because why not, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. PS State. Alex, tell me about the Sony State of Play. That just happened a few days ago. Tell me what was great and interesting about that Sony State of Play.
Shouldn't lead with that question. The Sony State of Play though was the other day. I don't know. What I expect with these is just like kind of like a little bit of a barrage, a little inkling of like a bunch of stuff coming out soon. But like when I tuned in, it was like, here's a fighter on Street Fighter coming out. It's a fighter that's already been on there, but here's more gameplay. I think they introduced like they did a couple of fighters like showcases, for just this Street Fighter game. I think Baldur's Gate 3 was part of that. I can't remember if that was what I was seeing, versus like what was just like someone posted the trailer reveal like on Reddit by itself. So I think it was from the State of Play.
It was, yeah.
I know people are excited for that, but it just looked a little dated to me for like upcoming PS5 games. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the art style they chose or something, but it just looks a little dated. And then there was just like a half hour of Justice League, which I was just kind of waiting for that to end because I just wanted to see like what else was coming up soon. Like we all know Justice League is coming out later this year. I think end of summer, beginning of fall.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like a lot of Justice League stuff, and they're just like they're all shooters and they're all got jetpacks or swing around like Spider-Man and stuff. It's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. It looked weird. Like it's just not what I was expecting in all the trailers that led up to this. Actually, yeah.
Okay.
That's the best way to put it.
Okay.
It's just not what I was expecting it to turn into. So like I was excited for that game, knowing that they claimed it's in the same universe as the Arkham games. Same developers and everything. So I was excited about it. But yeah, after this half an hour gameplay showcase, which has a battle pass, like
of course it does.
Like it took a weird turn. So yeah, it's gonna be a games as a service game, I guess. I don't know. I just now I'm extremely hesitant towards it because I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the games I was excited for the PS5, but not so much after that gameplay yesterday. So now it's gonna have to be close to when it actually releases. Is it gonna be 2 weeks of people complaining about bugs and a PC port being shoddy, and then I don't know how messy the UI is when you're doing the customization. Like this is what I'm all expecting for the 2 weeks because this happens for every game that tries to do this.
Yeah.
So it just seems like something I might stay away from until people 3 months into it say it's either dead or, hey, this is actually good now. They fixed all this stuff. Because it just looks like a lot of stuff shotgunned, like a bunch of different games shotgunned into this with Justice League skin.
That's what people were concerned about a few months ago or weeks ago when they started to hint that it was going to be games as a service, which is kind of like another one. Like games as a service are dying right now. Like games that fully depend on that approach are struggling as it is. And we talked about this before the stream started, because this game, triple A game like this probably started 5-6 years ago, you know, in terms of concept to pre-production, production, development, testing, and then release. A lot of years and labor went into this, because I mean, Arkham and Rocksteady has only released 2 games over this time period, right? Because they just had Gotham Knights. That was Rocksteady, right?
Montreal, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, to that point, like this would have been main Rocksteady, not Montreal, working on this.
This is their core team, yeah, the good one.
And about a month or 2 months ago, 2 of the founders of Rocksteady left, and people were like, is this bad omen? Like, are they leaving before like Suicide Squad gets out and people get real disappointed? And so I say all that to be like, yeah, I'm sure 5-6 years ago, this game would have been a great idea.
WB Games.
But as of right now, when you chase that trend, by the time you make a game of this size and scope and you get out there, that trend is gone and people are sick of it. And this just seems like an attempt to capture something without the heart, but also using a very trendy IP, which frankly, like maybe 5-6 years ago too, the anti-hero motif would have been more interesting to me, but also like, I don't want to kill Batman. Like that seems a little bad. I don't want to kill Superman. He's not my favorite, but like that, I know that the story tells you that it's because of what's the guy he took over them, and so you're trying to actually Brainiac took over, so you're trying to help. But yeah, it's just it doesn't interest me, because I liked Avengers as an idea, and then when I got it, it just didn't hold me, and this just seems to be similar to that in some ways. Is that a fair representation?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and like I don't want another battle pass. It's just like homework for your game. So
Gotham Knights was WB Studios, WB Studios Montreal or something, but they made Arkham Origins.
Okay.
Rocksteady made the DLC for Arkham Knight, or the DLC for Arkham Knight was developed by Rocksteady Studios. Yeah, it's a little messy.
It's a messed up world. What are you gonna do? I haven't had a chance to watch it. I was excited to, but then I had a busy day at work, and I heard a lot of people basically saying what you just said, which was like, it was a state of play. Like nothing too exciting. I feel like the one they did this past summer was pretty decent. Like there were some games that looked interesting.
But I just think there was a lot more coming out soon. It was a better showcase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, can't win them all. At least they have 70% market share, right? Yep. With that, I do want to talk about something else, kind of Sony related, because Sony had an exclusive marketing deal with this game that's been out for a few weeks now. Hogwarts Legacy. Now over 12 million copies sold globally, which is a big deal because, again, it's came out this month and it's already surpassed total sales for God of War Ragnarok. So incredible, probably on scale with what Pokemon has done and Splatoon 3 has done so far this year. Those games being last year releases. But yeah, this game is going past Elden Ring. It's just continuously getting praise. I have yet to play it, and I'll leave it at that. But you know, this is a game I think Sony has done some dedicated marketing for on its online shows and content. So at least they have this, you know. Can't say they've got it with Suicide Squad, but they got this.
Yeah.
Is Suicide Squad console exclusive? I think.
Doubt it. Oh. Maybe that's why it was on the State of Play.
I don't think it is. I think it's just a marketing thing. Yeah, no, it's not. It's coming out on PC and Xbox. So yeah, I mean, these aren't even exclusive games that they're dedicating. They just have marketing deals, which, hey, you and I could say, we're not excited, but they're going to work. Like, just the general fact that there's more views means at some point more consoles or more games sold ROI, who knows? But they do it because they have some data that says it works. So here's something I want you to take over. Alex,
Going on.
what did I'm gonna butcher his name, but if you want to, this was reported on Cinema Blend 18 days ago. I saw it in a meme that I sent
Henry
you.
Cavill?
Talking about Henry Cavill and
Andrew. You're talking about the you don't know how to pronounce his last name?
Sapolsky.
Yeah, it's something like that. That's good enough.
Okay, tell me about this article from Cinema Blend.
So, turns out the author for the Witcher series agrees that Henry Cavill's depiction of Geralt was the best thing going for that show, and that without him, it's not really going to be the same. He just voices his opinion on that. Yeah, Sapolsky. Yeah, you did fine with that. But what's this quote here? I've seen better, I've seen worse.
Well, I mean...
But yeah, so yeah, it's Cavill's exit on that show. Even the author, who has not been too keen on any adaptation of his books in other media, like the video games, agrees that Henry Cavill's departure from the show is not the best for it. And Liam Hemsworth is taking over for the role of Geralt for season 4. So yeah, that's just the little news that dropped this week from the author of the Witcher series, even saying, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, he was right. Basically, I agree with Henry's. I agree with Henry's criticisms about the TV show. Y'all were changing something that you don't have to change, and now I have no reason to watch the show. Yeah,
you know.
Well, it's got not Liam Neeson. If it had Liam Neeson, I'd be like, oh, give me Qui-Gon. But it's got Liam.
Not even in costume too, just wearing like street clothes.
Street clothes, walking around in jeans. He's got a Sprint PCS phone. Yeah. I feel like he was in an old school Sprint PCS commercial. I don't know. Oh man, Sprint and Singular Wireless. Remember those days? Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because I think that was one of the things we talked about in one of our first episodes together was Henry leaving. Yeah. So it turns out that Henry was right, and now he's going to lend his abilities to the Warhammer 40,000 universe with Amazon, which who knows how long that will last. So we will go forward with that. Now, here's to me, Alex, I am beyond excited about this. I'm saving possibly the best 2 points for last here. And no, I'm not talking about Greg's barbecue chicken from college. That was pretty decent. Yeah,
there was a weird link on there that you put there. It's just a picture of some chicken.
Well, do you remember Dinosaur Barbecue?
In Syracuse? Yes.
Yes. Do you remember that Sassy in Syracuse photo you and I took on the light post? I'm going to post that in the Discord.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, you still have that?
It's on Facebook, dude.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Facebook doesn't forget. It's very weird, but it's also not that weird. It was in public.
No, it's a funny picture, but like, man, it's gonna be weird seeing that again because I haven't had social media in like 10 years at this point.
You look the same. You do?
Yeah, you put the picture up. We'll see.
Yeah. So this came out yesterday at 9:31 a.m. Pacific time, 12 our time, my time. This is from GameSpot by Olesin Kunako. That's wrong. That person's gonna hate me.
That's my new PlayStation screen name, though.
That's a good name. It sounds like whenever my grandma plays Pinochle. So this is in regards to Konami's appearance at E3 2023. Quote from the article: a new report claims that Konami is planning to reveal a new Castlevania and a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake at this year's E3. According to Andy Robinson, speaking on the VGC podcast, which videogamechronicles.com, great website. Andy, good source. We get a lot of our news from them. Check him out. Actually, side note, Andy was on a podcast I listened to talking about the VGC podcast, which says like, yeah, we finally decided to start one because everyone gets their news from us anyways for their gaming podcast. So why not? I'm like, yeah, it's actually a good point. Konami is planning to have a pretty big E3, claiming that a new Castlevania is set to appear alongside the much rumored Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. There's a new Castlevania in addition to Dead Cells DLC they announced at the Game Awards. And there's this much discussed Metal Gear Solid 3, which I also expect them to finally show. Now, in going forward, people think that these Metal Gear Solid 3 remake and any other remake they do might be a Sony exclusive, which makes sense. Konami has a history with Sony for that. But there's also conversation that they're finally going to re-release the original games back on the storefront. So I think about 2 years or a year ago, they took down the Metal Gear Solid games off of storefronts. I forget for what reason, but they might bring them back as well. And they're probably going to do it alongside some other big announcement to kind of create some hype for it. So if you're a Metal Gear fan, this could be this summer for you. This could be Metal Gear Summer. Is it like Hot Boy Summer, but Metal Gear Summer? I don't know what that means. I just seen a thing on Twitter. Don't hate me.
Wet Hot Metal Summer. Metal Gear Summer.
The American Summer. Oh, man. Yeah, so Castlevania, dude. I knew Castlevania.
Yeah, it's going to be a top-down shooter with Battle Pass.
And it's only going to be on your phone.
It's a mobile game.
And you're going to...
Mobile.
The only way you can get credits to play is if you've officially gambled at a Konami Pachinko casino.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard a little bit more people talking about this. Jeff Grubb on his Nintendogs podcast, who's friends with Andy. And, you know, what would you want to see? I would love to see a classic Castlevania game with the updated speed and difficulty that a Metroid Dread gives you. But there's pontification that this is going to be a modern adaptation of Lords of the Shadow, which did you play those games back in the early 2010s? The first one's actually a good game. It's very much a God of War clone, but in Castlevania skin, and it does it justice. Like Patrick Stewart's the narrator, right? It's got a little bit of a different take on the story. I don't think it's officially in the same timeline or canon as the rest of the Castlevania games are. Like Circle of the Moon isn't either, for example. But I've enjoyed what I've played, and I don't know, if you give me that type of game with a like Fallen Order Metroidvania feel, imagine that, dude. Imagine if you have a Castlevania game with like a good difficulty in it that's 3D, that you have to explore, that you get power-ups in, you have to go back and forth in, you got to go to Kashyyyk, you know, like, oh man, I don't know. This should be at E3, and I am definitely leaving my booth to go see this game if this is there.
I am way more interested in the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, if that's what it is, a remake and not a remaster.
I think it is a remake. That's what they're saying.
I just think there's, with today's graphics and how cinematic they've made most of these games, I just think some of those bosses, like the fury, the pain, the end, like all of those bosses are just so like I haven't played that game in years, but those bosses are just like cemented in there, just like those cutscenes, and just I don't know, you're fighting a guy that's made out of or controls bees, you know. But I just feel like they can make those fights so much more horrifying than they were even back then, you know. So I'm just like super excited for that, just an updated version of that, the same way Final Fantasy VII remake was to the original Final Fantasy, like just that big of a jump, and just how cinematic, you know, your memories, trying to remember the gameplay back then, and you know, taking more liberty with it, I guess you can say. Sons of Liberty. Oh gosh,
I like that game.
But yeah. So I'm excited for a 3 remake.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think both are going to be good. Metal Gear is such a obscure franchise where I've gone back on the Vita days, like 2018, 2019, to replay those games on the Vita, and I was like, oh, this control scheme is terrible.
Yeah, that's what updated controls is a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they do some full-on remakes and then also port the games with updated control schemes, that'd be awesome. With just, you know, very bare minimum updated visuals, I'd be happy with that. Those games are still very innovative. You know, I could have Psy Mantis, is it Psy Mantis or Psycho Mantis telling me, "Ooh, I see you like Castlevania." Do you remember that? Do you remember that Easter egg?
Like the 4D wall breaking? Yeah,
if you had a memory card in your PlayStation that had a save file for Symphony of the Night, he would read it and say that to you while you were fighting him. Like that's cool. You know?
They did a lot of wall breaking in that series.
Yeah, and I appreciate games for that. I appreciate any art form that does that well, because it's fun.
An extra little reward. Yeah, it's fun.
It's like in the next one, Snake's gonna look at the camera and go, "So I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here about the Avengers Initiative.
Oh man. And then next thing you know, Captain America's in Smash Brothers. So that was a big news, and I think we will see that at E3 again. If my dogs are barking, let them bark. If I am there for that week, I'll try to get some coverage. I'll be able to. I don't know what the rules are, but I'll technically be an exhibitor, but I could just say, hey, let me record all of this and give me all your data. Your bases belong to me. So more to come on that. But also, another exciting news. This is the biggest surprise. I did not expect this, Alex. This is from Video Game Chronicles as well, and by Andy Robinson. This is from yesterday, 10:38 p.m. Warner Brothers CEO says, quote, Mortal Kombat 12 is coming this year. So, not a surprise, right? The article goes on to say, speaking during the call, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav mentioned the previously unannounced sequel by name and claimed it would be released this year. There's a lot more to come, he said, including the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 12 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That doesn't go together. Games also set for release this year with ambitious launch projections. The latest game, Mortal Kombat 11, was released in 2019 with a DLC expansion called Aftermath. Now, I say all that to say NetherRealm, from what I know, is on a pretty consistent release schedule. Where they would do... Sorry, I just heard a loud noise. They would do like an Infamous launch, and then a Mortal Kombat launch, and then an Infamous launch. And it's been a solid, almost 3-4 years since 11.
Injustice?
Injustice, yeah, thank you. Since this game has... since they've released a game. And I think a lot of that's a testament to just how successful 11 was. Mortal Kombat 11, I mean, you played that game and enjoyed it, and I don't feel like you're someone that plays every Mortal Kombat game. I mean, maybe I know you play Injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played both Injustice games, Red Hood being my favorite character. I think he was DLC for the Gods Among Us one.
Okay.
But just playing that made me want to play Mortal Kombat 11. But it's been like on repeated sales on the PlayStation system, on the PlayStation Store. I even think it was PlayStation Games of the Month or whatever that
11
called, PS Plus games or whatever. Yeah, I think it was on there at some point, so for free. But come get some DLCs, everybody. But yeah, it's been on there a lot, so it's super accessible. But it's been a while since a new game. Yeah,
and it is uncharacteristic for them. But yeah, now that we are gonna get it this year, so I would imagine if WB is at E3, we would see it there as well. Mortal Kombat 11 had a huge showing at E3 2019. Again, it was after the game came out, but it was still just like test your might against other people here, play the game, check it out. So, yeah. That's exciting, but it is funny. Like, again, the CEO's got to say something like that just to make people go, "Oh, my stock interest is interesting. I want to buy stock." I don't care unless you're Nintendo. Again, I own stock in Nintendo. But that's it, Alex. That's the news for the week. Let's transition to new games. There's 4 games or so that came out this week. Well, one you've been playing came out last week, but there's at least 3 new releases, I would say, that are people are talking about. Have you looked into this Atomic Heart game at all?
I think it had shaky reviews at best before it came out. I did not know about this one because I was so confused with Wild Hearts. Similar game names coming out.
Same month.
But I haven't heard necessarily great things about this game this week. It looks very Fallout 4-ish, Fallout 3. Yeah, Fallout 4, I guess. Yeah. It looks like a DLC for Fallout 4, honestly. Just like the art design, not the gameplay or the writing in it or anything. But no, I haven't played it. I probably won't. Yeah.
So, from what I heard, it's very much like a BioShock Infinite type game in terms of gameplay, obviously. It's set in Russia in the 1950s in a fake future where the Soviet Union worked, I guess, and or maybe collapsed into something else. I'm not quite sure. The game's interesting for a few reasons to me. One, it's there's kind of a similar war, quote unquote, happening about this game as it was that happened with games that also came out recently. That being that this is made by a team of developers that are in Russia. So people are saying like you shouldn't support this game, right? For reasons obviously that if you look at the state of Russia and their motives and behavior, like yeah, not good, right? But it wasn't clear that, you know, hey, that
1 year now.
yeah, like, hey, we're making this game for that reason. But given that the Russian government and the market operates a certain way, like there's a mutual benefit, right? Mick Gordon, who worked on the game's soundtrack, so Mick Gordon, who made the music for Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, the new Wolfenstein games, my favorite composer, he made the soundtrack for this, and the soundtrack's supposed to be good. But he said that he's donating all his proceeds to the Ukrainian Relief Fund, I want to say, or some fund. But all of this to come out and say that the head of like digital ambassadry, the digital ambassador for Ukraine, has basically said Microsoft, Sony, and other marketplaces, you should take this game off the marketplace because this is basically a boon to the war effort for Russia. And it's just like I don't know enough to say anything about that at all. But it's now getting into news because people are wondering, the moral dilemma. I'm like, it should be talked about. I'm not going to go out there and say you're an evil person. I don't have enough information to make those stances, but I say you should talk about these things because there's ethical consequences with how we consume things, right? We all have these cell phones, and for a matter of fact, this is most likely made by slave labor in another country. The raw materials, at least, is gathered by that. And there's a degree of culpability with your separation from it and all that stuff. But like, if you do have the opportunity to just say no to something that you think you want to, be my guest. But again, at least say that this is a conversation that's new and developing and should be talked about. So at the very least, it's interesting to me for that. I will also say I have a friend, Peter Schmidt. He's the head of the Gambino Mafia crime family. He's played the game, and he was not a fan of some of the writing. And I've actually heard his criticism of the writing was different from what other people criticized of the writing, but I found it interesting because like overall people were like, it's just not translating well into Western, markets. So, but getting over all of that, people have said the gameplay's decent at the very least, but the story itself, they could do without. So, yeah, I don't know. It's on Game Pass, so it would be no crime for me. But I think I heard there's something in the EULA on it that's like, hey, by playing this game, you agree to give your data to the Russian government, and I'm just like, hey, no. Just I don't know why you need it. Probably already have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Atomic Heart. Alex, tell me about the music game you've been playing, Dance Dance Revolution.
I've been playing. That's what Joy said. He's been watching me play this for like 18 hours since I don't know what day of the week. I was waiting for Octopath Traveler 2 to come out. Which had a 3-hour demo, probably still available.
Yes.
Which in that 3 hours, I ran around the whole map and got all 8 characters, and then was just like farming in a dungeon to try to level them up. Every time I saved it, I was like, how much time do I got left? Oh, okay. And just like kept running around and farming. But once my 3 hours were up, I needed something else. And you're like, so did you give Theater Rhythm a try? And I was like, I don't do like rhythm games. Like, you're like, dude, there's just a demo out there. If you want to play a demo, it carries over if you want. I'm like, all right, I'll just play this demo. I played the demo for like, 2 or 3 hours and then bought the full game. And then I just played that nonstop until Octopath Traveler dropped. And that's what I've been playing since. I really like the game. My only prior experience, I will say, was that recent Kingdom Hearts game, Chain of Melodies, Melody of Memories.
You got it the first time.
Every single one of them has a convoluted title. I'm probably doing better than they did. But that was a rhythm game, but it's kind of like the characters are running, for the most part, on a path, like Guitar Hero almost. But you can like jump and like hit most sides. But that was my introduction to like a rhythm game. I don't think I would have played Theater Rhythm if I didn't play that one first. November of last year, leading up to me flying to the Philippines in December. I really like the game. It's introducing me, surprisingly, to a lot of music that it was like unlocking these things in my head from years ago. And like I have like some surprise favorite songs that I replaying over and over again that I never even played the actual game. Like I forget which ones I actually took screenshots of in here. No, well, that's Final Fantasy VIII, that's Final Fantasy 13, and there's a special arrangement on Theater Rhythm itself. But there's songs that I just really like. I think it's just like a good symphony song, you know. So I do recommend Theater Rhythm if you like the Final Fantasy series and want to play the music. I think the difficulty settings, there's 4 of them technically, but some of the songs only have 3 available because that would be an absolute nightmare. Yeah, it's like beginner, expert, supreme, and then ultimate, I think. Whatever the orange one is, that's the one I'm just starting to get into after I got used to expert. But it's really good. Some of them are a little bit of a slog just to like progress to the next songs, but then you can just go into arcade mode. But yeah, I do recommend it. That is a great just like sit down and play some music for a little bit. And you can like pause at any time.
From what I've seen, there's kind of like an RPG adventure aspect to it, even though it's just a music game, right? Like you are progressing through a map. Yeah. Is that part of it enticing to you?
Well, it's kind of a little bit. Each title, for example, has a certain number of nodes. I think some of them has as low as 5. Like there was like a Mobius game. I think it was a mobile game for Final Fantasy that only has like 5 songs that you can play, and they're like some crazy techno stuff, you know. But other games have like 17 nodes, but it's like a path of 10, and some of them have 3 available, but you only need to complete 1 to move on. But yeah, you get like when you beat the Final Fantasy X one, you unlocked Jecht as a playable character. You can have him on your team. Yeah, there's like, gosh, I don't know how many dozens of characters, maybe 100 characters that you can unlock throughout the game, and you can level all of them up to 99. All of them have random abilities. Like if you want to go item hunting, you put Yuffie on your team, or Ferris from I think Final Fantasy 4 or 5 or 3. But yeah, like all of them have their own. Yeah, all of them have their own abilities and stuff that you can equip. So it is pretty deep there in the RPG. And it does have an online competitive mode as well, which
interesting.
You're just going to see a lot of people getting rainbow criticals, and if you don't get as many, you just lose. There's no perfect chain bonus or anything like that. It's just these people are dedicated, but it's still fun because you get to see you see this one dude spamming battle at the big bridge or something, which is just like an absolutely insane song on expert mode even. And it's like a roulette whose song gets picked every time, so it's fun.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's Theater Rhythm. I do recommend it for a melody game. And again, it's just super chill.
And there's a demo out for that on Switch and PlayStation 4, which is playable on PlayStation 5, and your save data does carry over, but it is only available on those 2 consoles. Another game that is out, my copy did not come today because Jeff Bezos is mad at me. I'm in Jeff Bezos jail. That's a weird sentence. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Typically when you buy a game off Amazon, it comes the day the game releases, and it did not do that today. But Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe sitting at a 79 on Metacritic right now. But I don't know. A lot of resources I trust have been pretty high on the game, saying this is the best multiplayer Kirby game out there. Kirby Star Allies was really geared toward that, but let's be honest, that game was made for infants. I mean, that
was a super easy game.
Yeah, it was meant to be a game for kids to get interested in Kirby, and it was meant to be very easy. And supposedly it got harder in the DLC, but this is a game that really shines supposedly across the board with just everything. And this was a Wii game originally remade for the Switch now with some epilogue content and other additions as well. I'm excited for it because Forgotten Land was a great game, and I love a good Kirby game, and this seems to be the Kirby game to own on the Switch. But again, that came out today. If you order it off of Amazon today and you get it before me, I will be mad at Jeff. But yeah, today 12 p.m. Pacific time in the morning. Alex, that's all the games that have come out this week, right?
Octopath Traveler 2. I have nothing but good things to say about it, so
yeah.
I don't have to go into a deep dive.
Yeah, you'll be mad at me. So I had a very busy day, even though it was an off work day for me. And
you told me you were going to play it the rest of the day.
So we went to a fish fry, and the fish fry was very jam packed. and I was in line there for probably about 30 or 40 minutes. And then we got back, and then we ate, and I had a lot of hush puppies and French fries and some fried cod.
That sounds like actual bites and not game bites.
Well, it's both and, not either or. All right.
So what's your review for Octopath Traveler after all of that?
My review for Octopath Traveler is Mark was sleepy, and so he sat there after eating all that food and drinking Sam Adams Cherry Wheat, which great beer, by the way. It's a classic for me. I was just like exhausted, and I had like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get into the game, and I was just like, I'm going to focus on getting some other things ready for the show. So I installed it, my Steam Deck right here. Big boy beefy right there. It's installed. I can just hit that button and press play. Yeah, it says play. Look at that, play.
That is nice, yeah.
But yeah, that has not happened yet. The only other things happening on my end that I'm trying to play is I installed the demo for Theater Rhythm, but again, you know me, I don't play the games I install. And I'm looking forward to Kirby, but also Metroid Prime Remastered is just calling me. So I'm almost done with Fallen Order. I'm going to the last planet, the last battle. I think I'm going to stream that tomorrow morning. I'm not sure yet.
Please do. I want to see your reaction. Something.
Yeah. So looking forward. That game's been great. Again, I've been playing that through in Jedi Master Mode. It's been such a good challenge, but it's at the point now where I'm like, I can master what you throw at me. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's some good games.
Yeah, that'll come to a halt.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. I didn't expect Qui-Gon Jinn to be a boss, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I mean, this is I mean, again, some interesting news regarding some major players in the space. But if I look at the games coming out in March, there's some good games coming out in March, Alex. Well, one game you don't care about has DLC coming out at the end of this week, which is Destiny 2. The Lightfall DLC. Do me this at the very least. Look up the trailer for the Lightfall story that just came out for Destiny 2.
Is it that woman with like a really long neck?
You saw it?
No, you get ads on your PlayStation when you turn it on. It's like, hey, pay attention to this game that I don't care about. So yeah, that's the thing I saw.
The trailer just looked fantastic. That's all I'm going to say.
Next to that was something actually relevant, was that the Venom DLC is coming out for more Midnight Suns.
Ooh, yeah. That's
Deadpool already came out like a month ago.
Are you still playing that game?
I will wait for all 4 to come out.
Okay, so you make your plunge.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I look at the list for March releases, obviously early March here is Wulong, Fallen Dynasty, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. That's gonna be a good week, man. Give me all of that. What else is big here? What else? There's a Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. I've never played it, but you know, it is what it is. Bayonetta Origins, Cerez and the Lost Demon. We've talked about that. That's like the prequel to the Bayonetta game, spun off from like a mini game in Bayonetta 3 that comes out. Not that curious about that. Is that all the games from March? That doesn't seem right. Resident Evil 4 Remake. There it is. That game's going to be huge, I think. I got to finish Dead Space before that because I want to jump right into that. And I've not paid a lot of attention to it because I want to kind of come into the game fresh, if you will. So yeah, we'll do a lot of coverage on that. And last but not least, another game that was shown at the Game Awards. We talked about this on our Game Awards highlight show. Crime Boss Rockaway City. Remember this? This is the one that had Chuck Norris in it and and Danny Trejo and all those other actors. That comes out at the end of the month as well in March. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what that is.
Great way to end the month right there on that one.
Chuck Norris, right?
Chuck Norris.
Oh man, did you? I'm gonna butcher this joke. I'm not gonna say.
Oh, here we go. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Wait.
Mark, it's not 2006 anymore. Stop. Don't do it.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Alex, it's been a great week.
Sir.
Thanks for joining me, sir.
No problem. I'm gonna go play Octopath.
I am going to finally play a game once I figure out what my dogs made fall upstairs. It was very loud. And there's no humans here. So, will you do me a favor and sign us off, good sir?
There are snow on the mountains back here, where I work, so that's kind of cool. Speaking of cool, stay warm, stay full, stay cool. Oh my gosh, one day, dude, I'll get it right one of these days.
You're catching my
Everyone
disease.
take care of themselves this week, okay?
Stay warm, stay classy. Right? That's what you wanted to say.
Yeah, we'll get it next week.
We'll do better next week, everyone. Hey, everyone, I'm going to do a proper sign off and not just cut the stream so you guys can see the full thing. Thank you all for joining. God bless. Have a wonderful week. And the outro screen is now up.
They can still hear us. I can hear you, and that's more than enough. We did an hour and a half. I think, like, I'm good on Mark Liberto. I know. Well, okay. Well, we did this before the thing, and now we're doing the after thing. Like, come on. Just, yeah, a little salt and pepper after the show. I mean, but it's already 2 seasoned, okay? Like, it's too much for me, Mark. This is too much. Those did not agree with me at all. Like, even in my arms, like, I felt it in my forearms that those turkey burgers were not for me.